It is truly our honor to be here with you today and to recognize and celebrate the life of truly an incredible human being that we were honored to know and to love. I have a couple of just quick stories that I wanted to share, and one of them was a couple of years ago when the war broke out in Ukraine. We were lucky to have Mr. Rosen on the air with us, talking about his commitment to wanting to help the people there, his connection to the Ukraine and to the people who were suffering. And he was hosting a big dinner and in raising money in support of Ukraine. And during the interview, we had put up some photographs of him growing up as a little boy in New York City. And I will never forget his reaction. It was so pure and so beautiful. And I wish we could play it for you, because he said, "Oh, Amy, where did you get these pictures?" He said, "This is so amazing." And that was his zest for life. Everything, those were the things that brought him joy. And he was so joyful to see those photographs of himself as a child and with his parents and where he grew up. And he was pointing out the apartment building where he lived.
On Wednesday, August the 22nd or so, I announced on television that I had cancer. And it wasn't other than not like sympathy. It was just like, this happened, diagnosed, et cetera, I'm going to be away. I wasn't home from work when my phone rang. And it was Harris. And he said, "I'm here," similar story. The next day, my phone rings, my wife answers, it's Harris. This is after my cancer surgery, again, checking on me. And that continued throughout. A man yet so busy, but paused for that.
It is an honor and a privilege for me to be here as we celebrate the beautiful life and legacy of Harris Rosen. I'm joined today with my wife and all of you to honor a great American, someone who I met a lot of years ago when I was a young Orlando police officer. The question before all of us today is this: what manner of a man is it whose life matters to others? I'll make a suggestion, or several to you. I would suggest to you that it is a man who loved his community through creating and uplifting underserved communities like Tangelo Park, like Paramore, perhaps like no other in our community. I would suggest to you that it is a man who created job opportunities for numerous people and their families in this community. I would suggest to you that it is a man who served his country in the armed forces as a military officer. I would suggest to you that it is a man who was a wonderful father, created a life, took care of his family, made provisions for his children, grandchildren. I would suggest to you that it is a man that loved the Almighty through his philanthropic efforts in creating the Rosen JCC here within our community. Of course, I'm talking about our beloved.
To these
75 million people who visit Orlando each year. The Rosen name is synonymous with hospitality and places where families create unforgettable memories. For Central Florida residents, the Rosen name is also synonymous with generosity and with compassion. And that's because Harris was incredibly committed to our community and invested in so many different causes that uplifted residents and entire neighborhoods. And I'm especially grateful for the work that he's done to provide young residents in both Tangelo Park and Paramore with free early education opportunities. And then when they graduate from high school, financial support so they can attend college, including at UCF. And that has led to generational change for many families in our entire community. He's already missed, but his legacy will certainly continue on forever.
He would share a snapshot of God's creation taken from the beauty of his own backyard. And what made Harris's photos so special was not just the beauty of the sky, but the way he saw it. He didn't see repetition in the world around him. He saw the uniqueness in each moment. Each sunset was different and worth capturing and sharing. And rarely would he choose just one photo if your phone ever got blown up with his text. Because, he was like a master photographer. I got a few of those. Every angle, every shift in the colors of the sky was a new revelation of God's work. This is my favorite story. One moment in particular, a chance encounter with Marilyn Monroe in the narrow confines of the hotel elevator at the Waldorf changed the entire trajectory of his life. We wouldn't be here in this situation if it wouldn't be for that moment, many say, when he met Marilyn Monroe. At 10 years old, a warm embrace from the iconic movie star, and Harris was captivated. It sparked dreams into the world of hospitality that carried him through music at our high school, all the way to the gates of Cornell University, home to the nation's most prestigious hotel administration program.
Harris succeeded in developing Rosen Hotels not just by managing the business, but rather by being a leader of people. Businesses succeed only through leadership. A toast to Harris, our leader. Thank you.
Well, if there was one thing that everyone could agree on about Harris Rosen, it was his unique perspective, his uncanny ability to see opportunity where others could only see obstacles. He didn't simply follow a path, he created a path. He had a rare combination of courage, determination, and ingenuity that allowed him to challenge the conventional and always bet on himself.
Health insurance premiums, as we know, on the rise, still difficult for people to afford today. And really in 1990, he said, we got to fix this. Most companies would do what's easy, and many of the companies are doing that. Mr. Rosen envisioned a better way, so he created Rosen Care, has redefined how employers care and take care of their associates. The zero deductible plan included on-the-clock access to the 12,000 square foot Rosen Medical Center, nearly all prescriptions and even transportation to aid for those people's efforts to get to their appointments. Some didn't have cars, some were maybe not from this country, but he made certain that everyone had health insurance to remain healthy. That was not just for the employees, but their families. And this plan emphasized preventative medicine. It broke down the barriers of that accessibility and led to happier, healthier associates.
First, I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me the opportunity to share my wonderful memories of my friend, my mentor, my soulmate, and my brother from another mother, the legendary Harris Rosen. I got to know him and appreciate who he was and what he was fighting for. In my opinion, from my numerous interviews, he was a brilliant entrepreneur, a humble person, a deep thinker, a philosopher, and above all, a colossal donor, a colossal philanthropist who took upon himself the role of what we call in Hebrew tikkun olam, which means repairing the world. This is addressed directly to Harris. Harris, we all will make sure that this audience, myself, and the thousands and thousands of students and employees will keep your legacy forever.
It's truly an honor to be here today to share with you some stories about Harris's love for swimming. I met Harris in Woodlands, Texas, of all places. The Justice Center was on the brink of closing down, and Harris stepped in and brokered a deal with the Central Florida YMCA and asked them to keep it open and save a training facility for all of Central Florida's swimmers. And this is truly a perfect example of his love of swimming, his love of Central Florida. And he had asked me to coach him. Working with Harris was not a job, it was really a blast. As they just said, he would never turn away from a challenge. So when I started training him, I had to come up with new challenges every day. And most of you know Harris, he wanted 100% occupancy every night in every hotel. So I would set up swimming sets where if he swam underwater, held his breath the whole way, his hotel would be filled that night. We would have fun throughout our workouts. We were more than coach and swimmer, we were friends. He was a good guy, and I had a lot of fun with him through the years. I am sad that he is gone, and I will miss him, but I will never forget him.
Harris was a man who asked really for so little, yet, as we know, gave so much. His heart was kind and generous and full of hope. And I think of all of those attributes, hope is just, the hallmark there. And he really had hope, and he made everyone feel hopeful in their own lives, in their own struggles, that things would get better. And while still early in his career, he recognized his success and found himself sitting alone in his office. And he's told this story many times, but he was interrupted in his office by himself with this unshakable feeling. And that feeling was, it's time to give back. And he could almost hear a voice, he has told many of us, that unmistakable call to action. It became the catalyst to that philanthropic journey that affected countless lives across Central Florida and beyond.
Everyone here has a Harris Rosen story. That's why we're here, right? Well, what I wanted to tell you is that all of those stories are what matters, and I'm getting to tell my story today. Now, Harris would tell you our story is called How Tangelo Park Got Started. I call it How One Man Changed the World. November 1992, I remember this. And what happened was Bill Spoon said, "Sarah, what you doing?" "Not much." And he said, "Well, jump in your car, drive down to the Quality Inn on International Drive. There's a little sign on the second floor that says office. I'm going to meet you down there. And when you get there, I'm going to want you to tell this man about your dream." I said, "Okay." I didn't even think to ask who the man was. I just got in the car, drove down there. And when I got there, I can still remember walking up the steps and thinking to myself, what am I doing? Okay? This is not the conventional way we do business in the school system, okay? But of course, there's nothing conventional about Harris Rosen. So I get into the office and Bill Spoon's there, and in walks this gentleman with his sweater. I will never forget this sweater wrapped around his neck, tied here. He said, "There's a neighborhood right down the street from here. It's called Tangelo Park. There's some people that work with me, and they're not happy with how things are looking over there." He said, "I want to change that. I want Tangelo Park to be the place where people want to live, not where they have to live. I want people to move into Tangelo Park because of everything we're doing in Tangelo Park." "Well, what are we going to call this?" He says, "Tangelo Park Pilot Project." So I knew then Harris had been thinking a long time about this. Harris had been planning. Harris knew what he wanted. And then I'm on my way out the door, and I turn around and I say, "Now, Harris, when do you want to start?" He said, "Now." I said, "Oh, no, Harris, you can't start now. It's going to cost you too much money." He said, "How can I wait?" can we lose one more child? So on this day, my friends, when we are all gathered here together to celebrate this just enormous man who did so much for so many of us, for me personally, for all of you, on this day, I would tell you, there's two things he would want me to say, because he would say, don't you let those people leave, Sarah, without telling them how important it is for them to carry on. So there's two things. The first is tell your Harris Rosen story. Tell it to your friends. Tell it to your neighbors. By all means, tell it to their children. His children will love to hear those stories. So tell your Harris Rosen story. You just never know what will happen. And then secondly, the thing I always say about Harris is he's a man who walked the walk, a man who talked the talk, a man who opened his wallet, all because he opened his heart. So what Harris wants us to do is just to open our hearts just a little bit more.
Harris took that tragedy, along with the support of his colleagues and friends, and really catalyzed that into an opportunity and to action. And through a generous donation of $12 million to the University of Florida, to catalyze an international effort to find new treatments and new solutions for patients battling cancer. Harris, as you heard, is an extraordinarily intelligent person and an extraordinarily resourceful person. And from Adam's diagnosis all the way through to present day, he researched extensively everything he could find about innovations in cancer treatment, forwarded those ideas to me, and he settled on the idea of trying to catalyze using a person's own immune system to fight cancer. He said that made a lot of sense to him. And in particular, after researching a lot of different approaches, he said, I've heard about this new approach of genetically engineered immune cells called CAR T cells, and it sounds really promising. And I'd like to see something like that developed for patients with brain cancer. I'm pleased to say that due to the support of the Rosen family, a new treatment for brain cancer has been developed at the University of Florida using genetically engineered T cells, just like Harris had wanted. In honor of Harris's memory, I can stand before you representing a team of over 100 physicians and scientists and staff at the University of Florida and an international coalition of 15 of the world's leading brain tumor centers to say that we will certainly carry forward honoring his memory in pursuit of new solutions for patients battling cancer, and also honoring his family to see the dream that he had of a better opportunity for people that come after him to come to fruition. Harris Rosen is dearly missed, but never forgotten and always loved, sincerely by myself and the team at the University of Florida.
Together, his children embody the facets of their father, his business acumen, his creativity, his athleticism, and his heart. While he now joins Adam in heaven, his other children carry the torch of his legacy with the utmost pride and a profound gratitude for all that he was and all that he continues to be to not just them, but to the world.
Dad, while the devastation of losing you has been indescribably difficult, finding things to be thankful for remains remarkably easy. We are endlessly grateful for the love you've shown us, the life you've given us, the values you have instilled in us, and the inspiration that you are to not just us, but your entire community. Thank you for never sacrificing the love you showed us or the time you gave us, lighting up and dropping everything when we walked into a room, for not only supporting our dreams, but making them yours, for always going beyond just seeing opportunity to creating it for us and countless others. And most importantly, thank you for creating a legacy that could never fade, one that is rooted in humility, compassion, and an unshakable belief in limitless possibility, one that we are unbelievably proud to carry on. While every day without a LUSM or love you so much text, kiss on the head, or sunset photo is a bitterly painful reminder of your absence, every structure built, life touched, and dream realized is an everlasting reminder of your enduring presence. We will miss you tremendously, love you eternally, and look up to you continuously, forever counting our blessings that you are our dad.
Harris was always looking to the future, and I would often ask him, "What does your crystal ball say?" There were many early morning phone calls from Harris saying, "I had a dream, and here are some of the notes I made." I would listen intently as I knew I was about to hear something remarkable. Whether it be about our company's future, his philanthropy, an idea to form a new company, the economy, or even world events. We are a company that is powered by an incredible team of associates that are committed to Harris's philosophy, to always do the right thing for our guests, our associates, and our community, and to always keep it simple. We are a diverse, inclusive team that loves, cares, and respects one another. We are hardworking and of the highest integrity, and I value that team. I know many of you feel the same way about Harris as I do. We will hear others throughout the community share their memories of Harris Rosen. From the bottom of my heart, and from the Rosen family, we would like to thank you for attending today's celebration and making it so special.